Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, and this is Married at First Sight Review, Season 11, Episode 5, The Honeymoon Begins. So let's start with Amelia and Bennett. Now, Amelia and Bennett, they're doing fine. They are so happy with each other, they're falling for each other, they're crushing on each other, so they're doing absolutely wonderful. The conversation is good with them. There is chemistry between them. I have no worries, no concerns, no issues with Amelia and Bennett, except for the whole permanent home thing. So in the beginning of the season, Bennett had said, and I think he was talking to Amelia's mother, that he doesn't really see himself leaving New Orleans and he wants to stay in New Orleans. And Amelia will definitely have to move for her residency, and then she'll have to move again, I guess, when she finds a permanent position. And her track record for moving has been every 2 years. She's uprooting. So I don't know how they're going to work that out. There's a scene where Amelia and Bennett, I think it was on day 4 of their honeymoon, they're playing chess, and it was one of those big life-size chess boards with the big life-size pieces. That was a cute scene. So Bennett asks Amelia, does she ever see herself settling down in one place? Amelia never answers the question. She says that she was busy concentrating on the game, but an answer never came. So that's going to be, I guess, the main issue for them is, where are they going to decide to live? Is Bennett willing to move? Is Bennett willing to move several times? Is it possible to have a successful marriage when you're not living in the same home? Who knows? So we'll see about them. Moving on to Karen and Miles. So, Karen and Miles, I think it was when they were having breakfast, they're having a conversation about, you know, their past relationships, and Karen asked Miles, has he ever lived with a significant other? And Miles says he has lived with a female, but she was only a roommate. There was nothing more than that. Now, at breakfast, Karen is already talking about, well, you know, if she needs some, how is she going to express to him when she just wants to be alone? I'm like, oh my God, girl, you just got married, you're on your honeymoon, and you're already strategizing, you know, how am I going to tell this man, you know, when I want to have alone time, how do I let him know that without hurting his feelings or without coming off, you know, bitchy? And I'm just like, why are you even thinking about that? You would think, well, okay, they're strangers, they don't know each other, because I was going to say, you would think that you'd want to be with your, when you just got married, you'd want to be with your husband all the time. You're not even thinking about wanting alone time. But I guess because they don't know each other, you know, she's already strategizing on what she needs to do if she needs to tell him that she wants to be alone. And he was basically cool with it. He was rolling with it. He was just like, well, just let me know you need some alone time. No big deal. And they talk about, this is what I like. Karen said that she likes how Miles makes her feel comfortable, even though she doesn't know him, even though she's on a vacation with someone that's practically a stranger. She notices that he goes out of his way to make her feel comfortable, and she appreciates that. Now, I think it was on day 3 of the honeymoon when all of the couples met together, and it was like a group meeting of everybody. And Karen was telling the group that how she sees Miles as a familiar stranger, and she gave an example of like your doorman, or if a particular person that you see at the bus stop every single day, you know them, you're familiar with them, but they're still a stranger to you. And that's how she feels about Miles. She knows him, she's very familiar with him, but he's still a stranger to her. But it's a comfortable type of feeling. It's a safe kind of feeling. It's nothing awkward. It's nothing scary. It's comfortable, but he's still a stranger. And this is when Christina pipes in and says, well, you know, she talks about, oh, what a great analogy, Karen. I really like that. She goes, that's a lot like me and Henry. And I'm like, no, I don't think that's a lot like you and Henry, because there's no comfort between you and Henry. You know, Henry always appears uncomfortable. You appear uncomfortable because he makes you feel uncomfortable. Karen and Miles, there's a familiarity there. They're kind of like settling into their ways with each other. Christina and Henry, not so much. So when she said that, oh, that's just like me and Henry, I was like, no, it's not, girl. No, it's not. And Karen and Miles, when they have dinner together, Miles feels good when Karen refers to him as her stranger. I think she says something like, you know, you're my stranger. Miles really liked that because it was like she was claiming ownership over him. And Karen asked Miles, why did you get married? And he said, well, he's never really seen it. Not that he hasn't seen a successful marriage, because his grandparents have been married for a very long time and they have a very healthy, successful marriage. His own parents divorced when he was 9 years old. And I guess that really affected him in the sense of him striving to not go that route. So he's always wanted to be married. He's always seen himself as a father. And so, but he wants to have a very successful marriage, unlike his parents. And he wants his marriage, I guess, to mirror his grandparents' marriage. His grandparents' marriage is like, I guess, the epitome of what a good, healthy marriage is, and he wants to emulate that. So his grandparents have a lot of influence on him wanting to be married. They make marriage look good. And Karen says that her last relationship ended when her boyfriend ended up impregnating another woman and having a child with another woman, and that's how that ended. And Miles says that he's had 10 monogamous relationships. So that kind of takes her for a loop, because Karen is like, well, you're only 26, you know, like that's a lot of relationships in a very short period of time. And it makes her question her relationship with him. Like, is she just number 11? If he's like a serial dater or a serial relationship guy, like one after another, like these relationships are not lasting very long. So she's kind of like, well, is that a clue on what I'm going to be facing in my future with him? And that's the question that begs to be answered. Now, on day 4 of the honeymoon, Karen and Miles, Woody and Amani all go on a speedboat ride. And while they were on their way to the speedboat, they were all in a bus or a van or something. And Miles kept referring to Karen as a cougar, and that really bothers her. I guess he was being playful, obviously, but I don't know if her frustration with it was being playful or if she was serious. But she says she doesn't like it when he refers to her as a cougar. I don't know why. I mean, he's just being funny, so I don't know why it bothers her. And then at lunch, they talk about his 10 relationships again. And he gave a reason on why he had so many. Or I kind of zoned out when he was talking, because he really wasn't saying much as far as why did you have so many so-called serious monogamous relationships, almost like back to back like that. I kind of zoned out when he gave that explanation. I'm not sure why that was going on with him. And then she tells him that it's okay for him to call her out if she becomes kind of distant. So she seems like someone who is very used to being alone, very used to being by herself. And that habit might kind of spill into their marriage. And so she needs him to kind of like bring her back in, I guess. I don't know. Now, when it was bedtime for them, this was a very strange scene for me. When it was time for them to go to bed, he suggested that they sleep in the hammock. And at first I thought she was going to say no, because that's very close quarters, you know, to sleep together in a hammock. But she said yes. And so he was really happy about that. She said yes. And then when they got in the hammock, now before I talk about that, let's talk about Woody and Amani for a tad bit. There's a scene where Woody and Amani are in a hammock together, and they're cuddling and talking, and they look very comfortable in each other's arms. They're like in a really comfortable position, and they're very, you know, secure with each other, comfortable with each other. Now, compare that to Miles and Karen. When they got in the hammock, it looked awkward as hell. Karen was stiff as a board, and I thought she was just gonna kind of like melt into Miles, and that they were just gonna snuggle together comfortably, because it would have been nice to sleep in the hammock. But the way she was just so stiff, I was like, I know somebody woke up with some serious cramps, neck cramps, back cramps, something, because she was just really stiff, and she really wouldn't mold her body into his. And I think his whole idea of sleeping in the hammock was that they could cuddle and, you know, be physically close to each other. But she just laid there like an ironing board. She was stiff. She was so stiff. And there was no way for him to embrace her comfortably. And it looked just so awkward. I thought that was so funny. So that's Karen and Miles. Moving on to Christina and Henry. Oh my God. So day 3 of the honeymoon starts off with them having breakfast. Still silence, no talking, no eye contact. Still Christina trying to breathe some life into Henry, and nothing. He's still like no pulse. So they decide to they're going to go kayaking. And, you know, they had fun. The kayaking was fun. You know, Henry loosened up a little bit when they were kayaking, so that was good. And, of course, you know, Christina talks about how this is his first time out of the United States, his first time getting a stamp on his passport, his first time doing something different. Okay, girl, we get it. And so the kayaking was fine. Now, at the group meeting, when they met with the other couples, Christina told everybody, she was like, I need him to be more aggressive. I'm used to a man taking the lead and a man being more aggressive, and I need that from him. And even Woody made a comment, not to the group, but I think to his in his interview or confessional, Woody even made a comment that they just seemed really awkward together. And it's not even Christina. Christina's okay. It's just Henry. There's just something going on with Henry. I just don't understand. I mean, I don't want to diagnose him with what I think it might be. I have no place to diagnose anybody, but he just, the lack of eye contact, the awkwardness in social situations, the awkwardness with one-on-one situations with his wife, I just don't understand. And then Christina, you know, she comments on how jealous she is that everyone else seems to be progressing in their relationship. And for her, it's like, there's nothing there. And I think at some point she even made a comment that she doesn't feel any different being married than when she was single. She feels exactly the same way. There's nothing special about her relationship with Henry. You know, I don't know. I don't know. And Henry said in the group meeting that he's an overthinker, and he doesn't really see himself being more aggressive. I don't know, Christina, girl. I don't know what you're going to do. So day 4, they go do a mud bath. And everything that they do, I mean, they could be going up the steps somewhere in a building or something. And he's like, oh, my God, this is just really out of my comfort zone. Anything that they do, the mud bath, the kayaking, he's like, oh, my God, this is like so out of my comfort zone. This is so out there. This is so crazy. And she's like, really? Wow, how sheltered, I don't even know. Because his father is so boisterous. You know, his family seems to be, you know, pretty normal. Anyways, I don't know what's going on with Henry. So, the conclusion on them. And then, you know what, Christina, you know, bless her heart, she really tries to keep it positive. Because any other person, I feel like, would have been like, this is just not going to work. I cannot go through with this. But Christina's like going to hang in there. She sees the glasses half full. She makes comments on the little tiny progress that she sees in him. And she says that she likes him, you know, she enjoys being with him. It's just that she's accepted the fact that she's going to be the one to take the lead. Now, Christina is not... When I first saw Christina, I was kind of scared of her. I thought she was going to be like a serious major, you know what? But for her to be as patient as she is with Henry, you know, she's kind of, you know, I'm kind of warming up to her. I'm kind of liking her because she's going through a lot. She's going through a lot. She's a very outgoing extrovert. And here you have this person who's so mousy and so quiet and so reserved and doesn't talk. And it's like, okay, if he's not adventurous, fine. You're not adventurous. The good thing is Henry's trying. He is out going. Everything that she wanted to do, he did. So that was good. And he didn't put up a fight. If you're not adventurous, fine. But you have to talk. You got to communicate. Lord have mercy. Anyways, moving on to Brett and Olivia. No, let's skip Brett and Olivia because I got a lot to say about Brett and Olivia. Let's go to Amani and Woody. Amani and Woody also, they're doing fine. They're doing absolutely fine. They had a lot of conversations about sex, as far as, you know, and I'm not sure exactly who brings it up first, but they've had a lot of conversations about sex, about, you know, doing it when it's right, when it's comfortable, when the time is right. He's not going to pressure her. He's not going to rush her. But, you know, in his confessionals, he talks about how he's definitely making progress. And he feels like they're going to consummate their marriage before the honeymoon is over. I don't know how many showers they took together. I mean, it's like every 5 minutes, Amani was like, do you want to take a shower with me? Do you want to take a shower with me? Like every 5 minutes. And so they're definitely, and I think Amani, she is ready for it, but I think because of her being on the show and people watching and cameras and everything, she's gonna be like, oh no, I'm not, the time isn't right yet, I'm not ready. But I think she's ready for Woody to jump her bones. So okay, so they talk about sex all the time, and then when they went swimming. Oh, he lost his ring. Woody lost his ring in the pool. And when he told Amani, he was worried that she was going to get really upset. But she was like, you know, it's not the end of the world, no big deal. And he felt good that she took it in stride, because it kind of gave him a glimpse of how she is, you know, maybe during a crisis, or, you know, when something really horrible happens, he kind of has an idea of how she's going to react. And so, you know, he felt really happy that she didn't, you know, lose her top completely when he lost his ring. So I like that. And then when they're having dinner, okay, they have another conversation about sex and how they're not going to rush it, but you know, she's ready. And she tells him that her last boyfriend was married. It ended because she found out he was married. And, you know, Woody was very sympathetic to that experience with her. And then she also mentions to Woody that in her previous relationships, they start off really, really good, and then they just kind of fizzle out. And so she's worried about this marriage being that way, her and Woody being that way. Like, it's starting off really good, they're connecting, there's chemistry, and she just doesn't want it to, like, after a month or whatever, for it to kind of die out. That's what she's worried about. Now, when they have their cuddle time, it was comfortable. It looked comfortable. It looked cozy. It makes you also almost want to jump in the hammock with them, because it looks so comfortable the way they were laying together in the hammock, unlike Miles and Karen. And then at the end of their night, at the end of day 4, when they're in bed together, getting ready to go to sleep, they're having pillow talk. You know, they're talking about whatever, how they feel about each other, how comfortable they are with each other. And then Woody said, and I caught this, and I had to rewind it, you know, 1 or 2 times to make sure I heard what I heard. But Woody said that he was falling for her, and that made me feel so good inside. So that ended on a really nice note. Now, Brett and Olivia. Their day 3 starts off with Olivia in her confessional talking about how much she likes Brett. And when they're having breakfast together, they're just having a very casual relationship about their past relationships. And she mentioned to him that her last serious relationship was 3 years ago. She hadn't been in a relationship for 3 years. And Brett was like, oh my God, that's a really long time to not be in a relationship. And I don't know why he said that. So, you know, she said she needed the time to kind of reflect on herself and be a better her and do some soul searching. So it was good for her. So Brett, you know, I don't know why he was balking at the fact that she hadn't dated in 3 years. Now, the funny thing is, her last relationship was 3 years ago. His last relationship was 2 days before he found out that the show found him a match. And she took that a whole lot better than I think the majority of females would take that. So he was dating someone right before he got on the show. Not only was he dating someone, but he tells Olivia, his wife, that he felt like that relationship had a lot of potential. And he also said that him and that girl had a lot in common, and that she was a great person. They went out on 2 dates, and he was really feeling this other chick. And then she asked him, well, would there have been a third? And he said, yeah, but I got the news that I was matched on Married at First Sight, so there wasn't a third date. Oh my God. First of all, I'm pretty sure by the time that you apply for the show, and you hear back and you start kind of, getting correspondence that maybe you're going to be moving on, I'm pretty sure this is a span of months. So you would think that when you've decided to get on a show where you're going to potentially be married, that you would not, you would not be dating. Because if you're dating and you found someone that you were getting along with, why are you on the show? Because my thinking is you get on the show because you've tried on your own to find love and you have been unsuccessful. So you're like, okay, my last resort, I'm going to pick this reality TV show and see what they can do for me. So for you to still be dating right before you got on the show, you have no problem finding relationships. You haven't given up on love. You're still looking for love out there on your own, and you found someone that you thought was a good match for you. So why are you on the show? Now, are you someone looking for like some type of a opportunity, acting or television opportunity? Like, what's going on, Brett? Not only was that crazy that he was dating up until he got on the show, the fact that he tells her that there was potential. Now, if you were like, you know what, I was kind of seeing someone before I got on the show, but it really wasn't going anywhere, so I was really happy when they matched me. Instead of, he tells his wife, yeah, I got on the show, but right before I got on the show, I was seeing someone, and there was a lot of potential there, and she was a really great person, and we had a lot in common, and there would have been a third date, but I got the call to get on the show. Like, what? Who does this? Why are you telling her that? That could have been something you kept to yourself. Just tell her, my last relationship was before I got on the show. How close to the show it was, she doesn't need to know that. That it was right at the time when they called you, that you were on a date when the producers came and told you that you got matched or married at first. She doesn't need to know that, Just tell her, well, it was right before I got on the show, soon before I got on the show, I was seeing someone, but it didn't work out. That's all you got to say. Oh, my goodness. So they go swimming, and Henry says, there's on his one-on-one, I guess, when the producers are asking him, what does he think of Olivia or whatever, he says, oh, she's kind, she's compassionate, she's beautiful. He uses these words that have no feeling behind them. Like when he's saying things about Olivia, his face is so dead. It's not like a Bennett. It's not like a Woody. It's not even like Miles. When they're talking, you can, their faces kind of light up when they're talking about their significant other, when they're talking about their wife. Their faces light up, when they talk about how much they like their wives, oh, that she's so beautiful, or we get along so well. It's not like to him, oh, she's compassionate, she's pretty, I'm attracted to her. And it's like, are you reading a script? It's almost as if he's saying the things that he knows he's supposed to say as someone who's on a show like this. He's like, okay, I'm supposed to act like a husband because I'm on this show about being married, and these are the things that a husband would say about their wife. That's what it seems like. He's just playing a part. He's just acting. That there's no sincerity behind his words at all. I have yet to see, the only time that I feel like I saw the real Brett was when at the bachelor party, and also when him and the guys all met up before they got married and they were having drinks and he was flirting with the waitress. That to me was the real Brett. This person, since he got married to Olivia, I don't know who this robot is, this automaton is, I don't know. This is not the real Brett. Because every time he talks about Olivia, he's just spitting out stuff as if he memorized a script, and he's just saying the right things just to say the right things. There's no meaning, there's no feeling, there's no nothing. Compared to Olivia, when she talks about him, she's like, oh yeah, I like my husband. My husband's hot. You can tell she really likes him. But Brett, I just don't see it. I don't know what's going on with there. So at the group meeting, when they met up with everybody else, here comes Olivia once again. This is where it happened. I think it was Woody and Amani. People were going on and on and on about how they look really good together. They look like they're really into each other. There's a lot of chemistry between them. And then I think it was during that moment, Olivia, no one's paying any attention to her. But here she comes. She's got to pipe up and say, I like my husband. Yeah, we know. We know. That's not even the question. That's not even the question on everybody's mind, though, baby girl. The question is, does he like you? And Brett said nothing. If he did, they edited it out. He didn't say anything. He didn't chime in and say, oh, I like my wife, and they did a great job with matching me with nothing. Okay, yeah. Even Henry... Even Henry is concerned about Brett. Now, Henry, of course, has something to say about it because Henry was a witness to Brett, the real Brett. He saw the real Brett at the bachelor party when Brett was trying to hit on Henry's two female friends, his two female companions at the bachelor party. So, Brett's worried about Olivia. He's definitely worried. Now, at the group meeting, everybody was talking about whether or not anyone has consummated their marriage. And I don't think anybody has. If they had, no one mentioned that they did. But Brett and Olivia, and this is, I think it was Brett that said this. I think somebody asked them a direct question if they had consummated their marriage. And Brett said that they were going to keep their love life private. That, yeah, they're not going to talk about that. Okay. And even though Henry and Christina have issues, they're not as awkward, to me, in my personal opinion, they're not as awkward as Brett and Olivia. Because I think Christina and Henry, they do have their issues of really trying to connect, but they're trying. And they're genuine about their efforts. Whereas Brett and Olivia obviously is trying. You know, she's going with the flow because she likes Brett. Excuse me. But Brett, to me, no. Even when they go to bed at night, it doesn't seem like Brett has any interest in her at all. I can tell that Miles is attracted to Karen. I can tell that Bennett is attracted to Amelia, and he said it before. He said that he is very attracted to her. I can tell, obviously, that Woody is attracted to Amani. That's obvious. And Brett and Henry and Christina, I don't see any attraction between them, but there could be potential there. I see no attraction between them at all. But that's fine because they're kind of equal in that. You know, I don't think they find each other attractive. I just don't know that if they are attracted to each other. And Brett and Olivia, the sad thing is she's more into him than to me. And I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. I could be reading this so wrong. And then next week, you know, they might have a major, huge breakthrough that's going to completely change my mind. But where I am today, right now, Brett is not into Olivia. Brett does not like Olivia. I don't know why Brett is here, if he's just trying to get on a show and be famous or, you know, build up his Instagram followers or whatever he's trying to do. I do not know what's going on, but he's not into Olivia. Olivia is into Brett, which is so sad that she's the one that's... Anyways, let's move on. Okay, when they go to bed after day 3, he talks about how much he likes her, and, you know, but the face doesn't match the words. Like, his facial expressions don't match the words at all. And I don't think they're in the same relationship. Olivia, whenever she talks about her and Brett, if you didn't see the interaction between them and all you knew was what she said, like if you had never seen Brett and you never see them interact and you hear Olivia talking about Brett, you would think, wow, she's in a really nice relationship because she has nothing but positive things to say about it. But when you hear Brett talk about Olivia, it's very auto-tone, very, very surface, very plain. Like, there's no emotion, there's no feeling. You wouldn't think that. You would be like, what is he talking about? What? Because the way he refers to her, because of his facial expressions, y'all, it's just, it doesn't match what he's saying. Like, his eyes do not match what he's saying. It's like he's saying these words, but there's no meaning, there's no feeling behind them. And it's like they're in two completely different relationships. And then when they are together, there's no chemistry at all. There is no chemistry. There was a scene when they were doing their own little adventure, their own little personal adventure, and they were on the monkey bars. And so Brett went across the monkey bars. She went across them first, and then he went across them. And then when they both got to the end of them, she wanted to give him a high five. He wasn't even paying attention to her because he was so busy with the calluses on his hands, because his hands were really calloused from the monkey bars. So she was like, yeah, we did it. And she was trying to give him a high five, and he was like completely oblivious to it. There is no chemistry between these two people. Okay. So when they were, okay, so the next day they have breakfast. He talks about, he was engaged before, but his fiance cheated on him. And I have a feeling that if we talk to the fiance, I have a feeling that she's probably going to have her own version of why that situation broke up. And I have a feeling that, I don't know. I was going to say that maybe they cheated on each other. That seems to be closer to the truth, but who knows? Now, they talked about kids. Brett is open to having kids. He likes kids. He thinks he's going to be an awesome dad. So he's very open to it. But he also said that if his partner doesn't wish to have children, it's okay with him, because he's not going to make someone do something they don't want to do. If they're not going to be completely invested in parenting and having kids, he's okay with letting that go. And Olivia, in so many words, was basically telling him that she has no interest in having children at all. She keeps talking about, I have other things to do with my life. I have, I want to do this, I want to do that before, I'm encumbered by children. It kind of bothers me when people talk about children being encumbered by children, like children are going to prevent you from doing things. Children are the icing on the cake for me of life. So that's a whole new adventure, being a parent, watching your children grow, helping your children develop, teaching your children, raising your children. That's an adventure all in itself. You don't have to stop living because you have kids. I don't understand why people think that kids are going to get in the way of something. I don't get that. People are really quick to have pets and dogs, and that never stops them from doing anything. But for whatever reason, when it comes to having children, it's like, well, no, I need to wait because I still have to do all these other things first before I settle down. Like having kids is some kind of a death sentence. Like, okay, once you have kids, you can never have fun again. You can never go on adventures. You can't do anything anymore with your life once you have kids. You most certainly can. You can do them with your children. You can do them without your children. You can still travel and hike and go to Mount Everest and do all kinds of things. Now, what makes it even sweeter is that when you do these things, you have your little cheerleaders cheering you on, happy for you that you got these things done, loving you unconditionally, thinking that it's so cool and it's so awesome that their mom and dad were able to do A, B, C, D, and XYZ. That's the upside of it. I just don't like it when people are like, oh, when you have kids, you can't do anything. And I need to have all my fun before I have kids. You can have fun with kids. You can have fun with kids. And if you have a good support system and you want to do something that you feel like maybe you don't want to bring the kids with you, that's okay. Let your parents or whoever, watch your kids while you go and climb Mount Everest or go dive into a volcano or go skydiving. Someone can watch your children, and then they're only little and dependent on you for so long. It's not like forever and ever and ever. And the younger you have them, the more time you'll have to do all kinds of stuff once they're grown and independent and out of the house. Now, if you're waiting until you're 40 to have kids, well, yeah. But you can still live your life and be who you are and accomplish your goals with children. Children don't start. Okay, when you're pregnant, you're not climbing. When you're 9 months pregnant, you're not going to climb Mount Everest. But you can do it before. You can do it after. You can still do these things. So I don't get it. But anyways, to me, when people say stuff like that, well, no, I don't want to have kids because I still have all these other things to accomplish. I just kind of think you just don't want them. Just say, I don't want children. And Olivia basically said it when she said, I've never seen myself and I don't see myself as a parent. Good. Own it. Do not say to your spouse, hey, I'd love to have kids, just not right now. But in the back of your head, you don't want them ever. If you don't want children, tell your spouse, your significant other, whoever you're dating or whatever, I don't want kids. I don't like them. I don't want them. I don't want to be a parent. I want to be, I want to be happy I want to be child free and happy. I do not want children. Just say it. Don't play these games of later, 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 later. And then your spouse is going to continually like, okay, are you ready now? Are you ready now? Are you ready now? Are you ready now? Just tell them, I don't want them. I've never wanted children. I've never seen myself as a parent. I don't want them. I don't like them. You know, I can deal with my nieces and nephews for a couple of hours and then I'm done. Fine. It's okay to feel that way. It's okay to say, I don't want children. So I'm glad that she kind of told him that she never saw herself as a parent. She kind of was still beating around the bush with it. And I think she kind of made it seem like that door was still open. But you know what? It doesn't even matter because I don't think they're going to last. So it doesn't even matter. And that's the end of my review. That was a good little Married at First Sight episode. I enjoyed it. We learned a lot about our couples. I hope you enjoyed this. It's once again too long because I talked too much. But anyways, that's it. So come back again for another Married at First Sight review. Bye.